Okay, welcome back to the continuation of our simple interest calculator. The first video we actually look at the analysis of how to design the view to look exactly the way we want it. And then the second part we talked about how to write the code to calculate the interest for us. This other time we're going to talk about how to calculate the principal. And if I can do this, you will definitely know how to do your rate and duration. Okay, let's hit straight to the code. Now, exactly what you're going to do here is going to be very simple, mostly just to copy and paste. Let's start from this very part. Now, when you click on interest, something happens. So when you click on principal, something should definitely happen also. So now what you want to do is to copy everything that is here in the interest, just copy it, then go to your and the first time your principal should not be empty and the rest. But this time around, it's not the principal that is also going to be empty, but rather your txt interest should not be empty because your principal is definitely going to be empty. Okay, your formula is going to change also. The formula for interest is p times r year divided by 100. But if you are familiar with mathematics and you're familiar with change of subject formula, you realize that the formula is going to change to SI, that's your interest, multiplied by 100, all right, divided by your rate times time. That's just a simple change of subject formula. So here is going to change from the interest to txt underscore principal.text. Now this will be equal to, we're going to delete this off, we are going to remove this, right, and then we have something like it's going to be txt interest, because we're going to provide value for interest, multiply by 100. You put this in a bracket. So that's quite very simple to do. The next thing we need to do is to go to our button. So you can simply go to our button. Now we're going to call the principal. So else if txt underscore, this time around is going to be principal dot read only is now true, then you're going to call the principal for calculation. Let's see what happens to our code before we forge ahead. Alright, here we are. Now let's click on the principal now. Wow, you notice that the interest is selected for input, the rate and the year, while the principal is rendered read only because you can't put any value here. That's where you want to get a result. Now if you click on interest, the same thing happens, it changes, right? So let's try to calculate something. Let's say our interest was 1000 and then our rate was 2.5 and our year was 2. Let's compute. We have 20,000. Okay, let's return the input log. Everything is back to normal. Let's go back to interest. Then let's have here to be 20,000 And then let's have this one to be, I think that was 2.5, and then let's have this one to be 2. Compute, we now have, sorry, that was 20,000. So we compute, we now have 1,000. So our program is very, very correct. I believe that with this, you can run the program for rate and duration as well. That was a very simple one. But before I call it a day, before we go to the end of it all, let's look at something again. This was interest, right? Now, probably I didn't want to go to a return log. I just want to click on principal and have my result or my calculations done immediately. I click on principal. Now, this has actually changed, all right? The fields have changed, but the values I had is still there, and that's a wrong thing to do. Immediately I click on interest, it's supposed to regenerate another field for me instead of clicking the return log, okay? So let's try to figure that out. It's just very simple to do, except you want to do it the other way around. So you simply go to where we have the click, your interests, and then call the clear button. Call the clear button. Then go to where we have your principal also, and then call the clear button, or the clear function, not button, sorry. So let's run it again and see what happens. Alright, here we are. Now let's check for interest. Let's say I have principal 20,000. Then my rate I had 2.5. I don't know why I like this 20,000. Then my input I got 1,000 as my interest. So let me change to principal. Click principal. You see everything goes, but my input log is principal selected, but everything here has just disappeared. So I can now put 1,000 here, and then 2.5 here. I'm supposed to have 20,000 back as principal. 2 here, then compute, we got 20,000. You can use the clear input log to return everything, including the input log, to please select an option. But if you're using this, it's just going to change this and then change this, but not actually returning to the default values. That's just the simple way to write a simple interest calculation. I believe you can do the rate and the duration. If you cannot do it, drop a comment on the comment section. I'll come back to explain that if you can actually do it. Thank you for having me. Ensure you subscribe to this channel for more videos coming up. Python, C language, web development, front end and back end. We're going to do that on this channel in a little time to come from now. Thank you for having me, and bye for now. Remain Engine Tech.